Hello and welcome. I'm Sofiko and this is Creative Minds Speaking, a podcast where I have conversations with creative industry professionals, bringing into the spotlight those incredible people who are behind the scenes of art and entertainment is the main goal of this podcast. On today's episode, I am very happy to talk with Rea Shena. Rea is the founder of Rreash Entertainment, an artist and producer management company. She's a classically trained pianist. She graduated from the Boston Conservatory, and then she decided to switch on the business side of things. So I'm very excited to talk about her experience today. Hi, Rhea. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Hi, Sofiko. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited about this conversation because it's very interesting for me to see how you started as a musician and then you decided to kind of switch. So let's talk about your background and your experience in the music business so far.
Yes, I started in the music because both of my parents are somehow in the arts, or at least were before they switched to. My mother went to school for acting and she worked as a theater actress for a little bit until she had me. Then my father went to school for film and documentary production, and he worked for a longer period than my mom. But then, because of the situations in Albania during the time that there wasn't a lot of money in the arts, and still to this day, like arts in Albania are not funded well enough, unfortunately. They had to change and build their own private business, not related to the arts, but because of the love that they had since they were young, they put that love into me. So I grew up like taking ballet lessons, ended up not liking it. Then they discovered that my passion was music because I would stay like 24 hours in the house, like anytime that I could, with headphones and trying to listen to the music that was in the house. So I just like was a little child, but I was listening to, you know, um, Mariah Carey at the time, Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, Bob Marley, like all these like different artists that were in the house, and they just understood that maybe this girl has a passion for music. So I went and started piano, classical piano, when I was 7 years old at the music school in Albania. Did that till 22 when I went, as you said, to graduate from Boston Conservatory at Berkeley in classical piano, but my focus was music of 21st century. And then afterwards, yeah, I decided that I needed to switch. So here I am today. That's a little bit of my background so far.
But was there a certain point in your life that you were like, I am done with being a new musician, I need to switch, or it just were very like logical and smooth for you this transition?
No, actually, like my transition wasn't smooth at all. From both like the emotional and the entire thing around it, because it being a classical trained pianist for all those years and then thinking that maybe this is not the thing for me, it was a little bit of an ongoing thing. Like when I went to Boston, I spend a lot of time alone, because as an artist, as a pianist, you need to spend a lot of time practicing alone. And it's not that I felt like I was missing out, but I was getting, for example, more happy when I was playing chamber music or I was playing with the orchestra, because I was just getting like all these ideas from different people, and that's where I understood that for me, the joy that I was getting the most was when I was sharing ideas with other people, trying to help other artists, maybe in the music, or at the time is where I just a little bit got into managing in some way, but not really. but I was just like trying to give advice to my friends that were having bands and stuff like that. And I understood that like I'm enjoying this way more than me being on stage. Like that's where I understood that I like being on the backstage, like working with more people, with more artists, that like me being the main thing and just spending all those hours on my own, practicing piano for 6, 8 hours a day, even more sometimes, and just like, you know, I still graduated though. Very, very grateful for the entire experience. Came back to Albania, worked here for the Ministry of Youth for like 2 years maybe. And that's when I understood that I kind of missed being in music and decided to go back to school. I saw that this the easiest route around it because I'm Albanian and you already know we have problems with visa and stuff like that. We can just like move to another country just because we feel like it. So I felt doing a master was the easiest route to meet people. And yeah, I decided to go to Berkeley for global entertainment music business. Probably one of the best decisions I've made in my life so far because I got to meet amazing talent there, which one of them is, of course, you. And
Thank
I'm
you.
just like very grateful for that entire experience and the people that brought into my life.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super grateful as well. So I know that you have this huge passion for A&R, and like the big part of being of running a management company is finding the talent, right? So can you tell me why A&R?
YNR. During college, I had a lot of friends that were in the bands and stuff like that. And I was spending a lot of time in the studio listening to them recording. I was like giving kind of advice. Maybe sometimes they didn't ask for it, but I just felt the need to like say. I was like, oh, maybe this part in guitar doesn't sound as nice. You have to do this and that. And then with time, I was trying to find other people in the school that they could like collaborate with and stuff like that. And then the other thing was that one of my main joys, even before going to college, probably like since middle school, was like trying to find new artists and share it with my classmates. I felt like I did something amazing when I was going to class with this new artist that they never heard about. And when they said they liked it, I was like, you made my day right now. I don't need anything else. So in college, after I did this work, let's say, it was more like fun with friends, but I went to dig deeper and I was like, there's probably a name for this. There's probably somebody that actually does this as a job. And I went into some research and I came out on this title called Artisan Repertoire, ANR. That's when I discovered it. And I said, like, if I don't do classical piano, I'm definitely gonna jump into doing that because it's amazing. To me, it's like a complete different feeling when you just discover an artist that's not been famous yet and you're like, this is the artist. Like this is gonna be the next big thing. And it happens, you see it happening after a year or so and you just like feel amazing about it. Even if you don't work with the artist, just the feeling of it.
Yeah. And would you say that your musical background helps to be a good A&R, or A&R doesn't have to be trained musician? What do you think?
So, in my personal experience, it has definitely helped because I've studied classical music. I also studied a lot of different genres of music while I was at school, so I can understand where like pop music is coming from or rock music is coming from in a more professional way. But I don't think that's necessarily a thing that you have to be an amazing A&R. I personally know people and have friends that are amazing at A&Ring and they haven't had one day of music training, but it's just they have it inside of them. I definitely feel that you need to be trained in a way that you need to listen to a lot of artists and like see the producers and stuff that work with them in order to be a great A&R, but not for you personally to have studied music to be great at it.
Hmm. And what is your approach to finding new talent? Because there is so many artists, especially in the current times when social media is available and anybody can put their music on Spotify. So much information. How in all this like amount of things do you find new talent?
There are definitely like different platforms for discovering talent. Of course, like TikTok is taking the lead at the moment, as we know. I definitely check TikTok for through hashtags and stuff like that, singing covers and all that. Or if I have there is like a specific song booming at the moment, I'll search for covers for that song because I know that a lot of kids will want to get some attention out of it. But the same goes for Instagram and YouTube. Still, I love finding artists through YouTube. SoundCloud definitely. It's a very nice place to find artists. The thing with me, I don't know why, I get more connected to the artist if I can see their face while they sing. I don't know why. It's just one thing for me. And it doesn't have to do about looks or anything like that. I just feel like if I can look at the person's eye, even though it's like through a small screen on my iPhone, I can just like connect better to what they're, singing. So definitely like my favorite platforms at the moment are Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, that's how I go about finding talent, the places that I look at. When it comes to what I think of or what are the main things that I look into, I'm not into numbers personally. I definitely think that it's very important to know about the numbers of your artist, but so far from my experience, I've only gone for artists that once I have heard them, it's just something about their voice that just like strikes me. And I would say I'm that type of A&R that when it comes to pop and R&B artists, I'm so much about the voice still. Maybe it's because I'm a 90s child and I grew up with Whitney and all the amazing singers that their voice is just out of this world, and I'm just still trying to find artists that give me the same energy and like the chills and the goosebumps when I first listen to them. And when it's about hip hop, I definitely pay a lot of attention to lyrics. So beat for me is important too, but I connect to lyrics more when it comes to hip hop, and so that's one thing that I pay attention a lot when looking for artists in that genre. Yeah, that's what I would say. It's my approach towards finding the talent and what look to it.
And do you look at the ability of the singer to sing live right now as very important, or you think it can be developed with time? Like, do you pay attention to this a lot?
So I definitely pay attention, but there is only like some amount of it that you can find through TikTok or Instagram or YouTube and stuff like that. I definitely search for videos of them on YouTube if they have like a live performance, and things like that. And at the moment right now it's not so easy for us to be just, oh, let's just meet and I'll hear you singing live. But definitely stage presence is something very important in an artist, and I've heard a lot of stories of amazing A&Rs that have signed some talent because like their voice or their music is good, and then they've went on tour and it's not happening. So I would say definitely important, but to some extent we also have artists right now that maybe their stage presence wasn't as good, or I don't know, they couldn't dance and now they're better at dancing and stuff like that. So you can, to some extent, grow that stage presence, but it definitely has to be. You kind of have to have this type of charisma, even if it's a loud charisma or you are that. very timid artists, let's say like Lana Del Rey, you still, it's a different type of stage presence, but it's definitely there and it's very, very big.
Hmm. So, so you found a talent on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, anywhere. How do you connect with the talent once you find them? Because you have to build a relationship with them in order to manage the artist.
Yeah. So my first approach is just sliding into the DMs with like a good intention into it, of course. Um, I found that a lot of artists surprisingly do not check their DMs, which I'm a little bit sometimes confused, because if you are waiting to be discovered or somebody to reach out to you, you should be like on your DMs every day, checking everyone that's writing to you, even if it's just fans. Like, it's good for the artist to just connect early on with their fan group. um then I go into trying to find some email address. Maybe it's under linked under the Instagram, or some artists right now, they put their email under their TikTok. A lot of them do it under their YouTube videos. One thing that I didn't know early on is that they do it under YouTube videos, and I did find a lot of information under the YouTube videos, which is good. Some also put it on their Spotify and stuff like that. But definitely, like, the first way to connect to them is reaching out and be like, hey, I listen to your music. I really appreciate it. That I would love to have a chat because I'm interested into working with you. And sometimes they'll respond, sometimes they will not even look at it. In your best day, they will look at it and respond with a yes, I'm interested to talk with you. And that's probably one of the best days that you've had in a long time. But after that is definitely, I feel like the management relationship is a little bit like love relationship in a way. Like, you need to take it step by step. Like, you can just like force into it and just like jumpstart everything. So for me, it has to be very natural and genuine. So I start by just talking to them, checking on them once in a while, being interested if they have new music, being interested if there are producers that they want to work with or stuff like that. I try to do some things for them before we even start working. Building that relationship is hard, but is also very rewarding in the same time when you do manage to build it, and when you see that both of you are on the same page to continue this relationship and try to do something great and put some great music out. Hopefully it will grow into being a bigger artist and all that amazing dreams that we all have when we start working with somebody new. Yeah, those were definitely like my approaches so far into how I connect with the artist and how I try to build that relationship.
And in your career so far, were there moments when, or cases when it felt like the relationship with the artist starts like good, but then maybe it didn't work out at the end or something like that? Were there stories like this?
So I have just recently like started in the business. As you know, I just, for the past 5 years, it's been that when I've tried to shift. But I mean, definitely there are times when you talk with the artist and then you talk for a little bit, and then for some reason or the other, either you or the artist is not feeling into signing a contract. Then, but you still have a good relationship with them. You still check with them from time to time, because you never know what can happen during the road. Then there are times when you discover an artist, you work with them for quite some time, um, and then after a while, it just feels like you are not in the same page as them. So I just recently, I was working till a couple of months ago with this up and coming artist called Jessie and Murph. She's super talented. She's only 16 years old. I kind of discovered her when she was 14, and we worked for a little bit. I think we did amazing work together for as far as we worked. And at some point, it's just different perspectives in business comes to people wanting to not work with each other, but you still gotta have love for each other and respect and understanding for all the work that you've done from both sides. And I feel like as a young manager, I've heard a lot from my mentors that that happens a lot during the years, and it's not gonna be only one time. And I've also heard like a lot of other managers that have gone through the same thing. So I keep saying that to myself and also to other managers out there that want to start in the business that not all the relationships end into marriage, so you just like need to continue like till you find that like great love, and then the other one, another one after that, so yeah, it's definitely hard to be a manager. It's definitely hard to, I feel like it's still a little bit hard to be a woman manager, though I don't like this differentiations you already know between man and woman, but the truth is still as it is, so we have to accept it. But I definitely have seen a lot of growing through the obstacles that you go as a manager, especially as a young foreign woman in the music business.
And when you discover a very young talent, I guess there are some communications with their parents, right?
Yes.
Um, does it make it harder for you to connect with the artist, like through the parents, maybe in some way, or how would you describe it?
um Not really for me personally, at least, because I feel like I have good understanding of what parents are afraid of, or may become also because my parents are Albanian, and we're a little bit strict with our kids when growing up. It's no like but so I always think about what my mom will think. What is she, if I was the artist, what the questions that she will ask and all those things. So far I've had all the conversations that I had with artists that are underage, and their parents been like very, very good. It's definitely not hard, but it's just another relationship that you have to build. Plus, so it's not just the relationship that you have
Mm-hmm.
with your artist, but you also have to build a constant relationship with a parent, because you have to keep them updated for everything that you're doing. You have to make them part of everything that you're doing, and all those things. But I definitely feel it's very, very good when the parent is supportive of the child and just wants the best for their child, and gets in line with the vision of their child and the manager. So yeah, I personally don't have a problem with that, but it
Mm-hmm.
depends on the people as well. So far I've been lucky with that. Hopefully it'll go it will continue like that.
Hopefully, yeah. And do you have any advice to starting managers? Because you have some experience already, and I guess you had some mistakes, as we all do, on the way. Is there anything you would like to maybe say to younger yourself as an advice?
I wouldn't put the things that I've gone through so far as mistakes, more as like learning experiences,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just things happen in life, and it just
Yeah.
you have to go through those things. But to starting managers, I feel like in order to find talent as a manager, you kind of have to be good at A&R. Like you have to have that ear for discovering if you are going to be that type of manager, because you also can be like a manager that already works with people that have already been discovered, and you just jump on board at that some point. But if you're gonna be the type of manager like myself, let's say, that I just love discovering people when they have nobody around them, like nobody knows about them, definitely be willing to do a lot of stuff for free, because you're probably not going to get paid for a long time, but it's definitely going to be worth it in the long run. um, Definitely be willing to be on top of everything, in the sense that try to bring as many things to the table for your artists, is that producers that they might want to work with, other artists that they want to collaborate. And I know some people might say, like, but you know that's not really a manager's job. That's why I say, like, you have to intertwine with being an A&R at the same point,
Mm-hmm.
when you are just getting started, and especially if you're working with talent that is not discovered yet. The other thing is that I will say, focus on the artists that you have at the moment, but in the same time, keep looking for other artists that you might want to work with. Because as we mentioned, you never know, and you just have to be on top of your things. So if something doesn't work out with an artist, then you have to be ready to jump into another wagon and start running that thing up. So definitely keep your eyes open everywhere for new talent, new artists, new producers, because sometimes you get to meet artists from the producers. Like, that's another route of going into things. So you look into for producers as well. That's why my company is focused on both artists and producers, because I just feel personally, so far from my experience, that it is a great networking way of trying to find artists, or vice versa, trying to find producers, if you have like good talent into your team. So yeah. Other advice that I will give to managers is just like, also, I am personally the type of person that listen to a lot of different genres. So I will give that advice of, try to get comfortable with other genres outside the one that you feel comfortable working with, because you never know. Some hip hop artists might reach out to you, even though you've only worked with pop artists, and you might feel like, oh, but I don't know so many things about hip hop. But you need to be on top of your things and be ready if something like that comes up. Of course, only if you are interested in working with the artist. But I just feel that's a good thing to have for yourself as a plus, if things like that come into the table.
Definitely. Thank you for these advices. And let's talk about Albanian music scene, because you are from Albania.
Yes.
And before knowing you, I didn't know that such big names as Bebe Rexha, Dua Lipa, they have Albanian roots.
Yeah.
So, why is that? Is it a thing that they like? Unfortunately, singers have to go somewhere else to become popular, or why I never hear about Albanian music or anything like that?
So, as I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast a little bit, you know, Albania was part of, we didn't have democracy basically till 1990s. So everything was a little bit of a dictatorship in a way. So it's crazy. You couldn't even listen to foreign music before, they will put you into jail and all those crazy stuff. So if you did something different with your fashion, you were considered an enemy of the state. Just a bunch of crazy stuff. And I feel like during those times, a lot of Albanians just had to flee the country for a better life, I guess. So, and then the war in Kosovo happened, and all those like wars around us, and people have to flee from there as well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the case with Dua Lipa's family. Like, they just moved to UK after that. And I feel that has happened because, of all the restrictions that we had in the past. we still haven't been able to get outside that bubble in a way. So we still have to get artists outside of Albania in order for them to get signed and get recognized, you know. So definitely do Arita Ora, Bebe, Ava Max, Nyomza. They all have kind of similar um, backgrounds in a way that their family just decided to leave for a better life, and they just became who they were. You know, it's definitely because we don't have a music business in Albania. Like there isn't,
Mm-hmm.
none of the majors is in Albania. There are little of independent Albanian labels, but it's not that they have connections with the bigger music business world. Um, so there's definitely, for example, artists right now, what they're doing, um, they're trying to get signed, artists from Albania and Kosovo. They try to get signed, for example, in Germany. So there's this artist called Tina. She just a couple months ago got signed to, I think it's Sony in Germany. So that's the route that artists are taking at the moment. I will definitely say that Albania has amazing talent when it comes to music and also when it comes to film. It's definitely less approach the film part of it. We do have like amazing young actors that are trying to make a life and a name for it, but it's still not as good as the music business part of it. But I just feel that all the big names in the music business need to pay us a little bit attention and try to get people interested, like people that already work in these big companies, to be like, "Ah, where is this tiny ass place called Albania? Because we're just there in the middle, just across from Italy and near Greece. There is this amazing country called Albania. We have amazing people, amazing talent, amazing food, amazing landscape. We're just a little bit hot headed, but you know, you can be good at everything. So that's the bad thing that we have about us. But other than that, it's just we're very friendly, and and then also I feel it's time that Albanians do get start recognized in the world for good things. Like Russians as well. We're just recognized for a bunch of things that, you know, we're not very proud of. And I just feel it's time for the world to know that Albania and Russia are very artsy places, like they've been in the past, recognized for good things. Hopefully, we will be up there soon with the other countries around
I
us.
hope that you and me are one of those people who kind of show that all those stereotypes are not true. So hopefully.
Yeah, I definitely hope the same. I'm definitely trying to, you know, put a better name in our my country with the things that, although I'm still trying to be honest, because I don't want to be two-faced. I'm still trying to do those things outside Albania, but I'm just trying to do it as a way to get back in Albania in a way, you know.
Hmm.
I just want to get all these connections and people so that I can have a good amount of people around me that will pay attention when the time comes that I want to build something in Albania, and I will just have a good networking at that point, and things I think will be easier for me and my little country.
Love it. I love how you want to help your country. It's very great. And I wish you best of luck with that. I really think it will work out. Now is very depressive time and everything, and but the time will come. The time will come for
Yeah.
sure. Um, Now let's move on from the music conversation and let's talk about something else.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, I always ask my guests if they have any book, movie, and song recommendations for our listeners.
Hmm. Okay, so book right now. I'm reading this book that a good friend of mine recommended. It's called Ask and It Is Given. It's about the art of manifesting and how to go about your dreams and all that. And I feel kind of bad that I've kept it off my readings. I was like, I'm going to start, I'm going to start, I'm going to start. But I just feel like it's an amazing book and people definitely need to read about it. Movie, there are so many movies that I like and but I will give a in the music business though there is this very good documentary called the about Clarence Avant on Netflix that I think everybody that wants to work in the music business um, needs to watch the documentary because it's just amazing. And about song, I will say any song that this artist called Ashley Kutcher is putting out right now is amazing, and she is gonna be definitely a great artist in the near future. So I definitely recommend people to listen to
Mm-hmm.
her and look into her because she's definitely one artist to watch out.
Thank you. Now, who is your celebrity crush?
Oh, girl. Like in music or my celebrity crush crush?
Crush, crush.
Oh, God. So it changed during times as I was growing up. Um, Brad Pitt was one of them. Leo DiCaprio was one of them. Channing Tatum was one of them. And right now, I will say that's definitely Michael B. Jordan. Like that's my celebrity
Hmm.
crush right now. But don't share this with the world. I don't want people to know this.
What is the most useless talent that you have?
The most useless talent? I can whistle. Like, when people whistle in the clubs that it's like very loud. I can do that, and not a lot of girls can do that. Yeah, like I can do that. You know already because you've been next to me.
Yeah, I definitely advise not to stand very close to you while you're doing this because it's something else.
It's very loud. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And who would you say inspires you the most?
So, from my personal life, I will definitely say my parents are like my greatest inspiration just because I've seen them reinventing themselves throughout the time to make a better living for themselves and for me. So I'm definitely very grateful for that, and they keep inspiring me every day more. Um, when it comes to music, for a very, very long time, I've been obsessed with the life of Beethoven. And, like, of course, because, I'm a classical pianist, and the entire thing that he did for the world, he was deaf and still he wrote some of the most amazing classical pieces, which just shows that music it's inside of you, it's in your heart, in your soul. Even if you can't hear it, it's just inside of you. And then if I will go into like this times, definitely a lot of artists are inspirations, but there are some couple of A&Rs that I'm just amazed at the moment. One of them is Caroline, Caroline Diaz. She is the baby's A&R, and I just feel like she's so young, so talented, and everything that she's doing at the moment is just amazing to watch and so inspirational. Such a boss lady, such a boss lady. Love her energy. Then I will say Neil Jacobson, what he's doing with Hollywood media and all the producers and all that. It's so amazing, inspirational, all the good words about it because he's done it in this time of pandemic. That's just when people were like so afraid of starting new things. It started and in a year he's done an amazing journey so far. And then the great ones, of course, like Clive Davis is one of them. That's definitely an inspiration. Every time that I go and try to find something about him, I'm just more amazed and like, this artist too, you worked with this artist too, like even if he didn't discover the artist, in some way he was involved in the process of making that artist into a superstar. And I'm just like, amazing. And of course, Mr. David Geffen, we all know of him, definitely a boss. So in the same way like Clive, he did for the music, a lot of things, and not only in the music business, but just put that artist persona into another level. So I would say like these are definitely some of my inspirational. And I also get inspired very much so by my peers. Like that's one of the thing, like I love seeing my friends doing amazing stuff, doing new stuff, getting involved in things that we've had like conversations before that they might have been scared of, and just seeing them doing themselves and like doing very good at it is just very, very good to look into. And I will have that advice for everybody listening to this podcast. Never feel that your peers are your competition. The competition is only the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror. Your peers are only the people that should be inspired and want to collaborate with and try to be better, because we have a saying in Albania is tell me who you stay with and I'll tell you who you are. So definitely try to stay with winning people and you'll definitely win in life. That's what I've learned so far.
That is beautiful. This is the best way to end the episode.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much, Rare, for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing all your wise advices and wise thoughts with us. You're definitely very inspirational. You have one of the greatest ears. Literally, you are kind of just starting
Thank
right now,
you.
and but I know you because you found already, you showed us so many talents, so many
Yeah,
artists that
thank you.
like kind of boomed later, and you found them when they were small, so you definitely have this talent. It's not just a passion, and I can't wait to see you shine in this field.
Thank you so much, Sofiko. Thank you for having me, and definitely wishing you best of luck with this podcast, because I definitely think people that wanting to get into the music business need something like this right now, something that's very honest and sincere and comes from people that are a long way in the journey. Like that's why I feel is so amazing and special about it. So best of luck. Can't wait to see you shine too.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.